Okay, so to do some foam cutting for making foam core wings, you're obviously going to need some foam. There are different types of foam you can use. This is the white polystyrene, quite soft and very light. There's the extruded foam, which is this stuff, which is quite hard and dense. It's good to cut, it's sandable, good to work with. Then there's the more traditional stuff that we're used to in model flying, which is the EPP stuff, which is quite soft and flexible. I don't have any of that, so I've used some polystyrene, which I do need to protect the covering with it because it's quite soft. Now the wire, search on eBay, do Google search, you'll be able to find there's plenty of sources to get this wire. It's guitar wire, stainless steel wire, nichrome wire. So I've got some of that. Okay, put 12 volts through it, something like that, DC, and you'll cut it, but obviously you'll need to alter the voltage or the length of the cable to get the temperature right. Now what I've got is a speed controller here for an electric motor, a brushed motor, and instead of connecting the motor to it, I connected two wires, so I can clip that onto the wire, one crocodile clip on one end and one on the other end. By using one of these I can alter the speed of the motor, but it will actually increase the voltage, which will increase the temperature or decrease the temperature. Once I've got the setting, I'll just leave that where it is. To turn it off, I'll just remove one that clips, put it back on when I want to use it. Powered by a normal Lipo 12-volt battery. I've been doing some cutting of some small wings yesterday. Cut 2 cores, only used 85% of the battery was left, so it doesn't use that much. Okay, so that's that for today. cut the foam block to shape, which is this shape here. I know it would be bigger than that, but I'll cut it. So now when it's hot wired, that's what it looks like, and these are the foam cores. That scrap. Okay, so now where are my foam parts? This is made out of polystyrene, white polystyrene, which is not very good for cutting because it's very thin and flimsy. EPP would have been better, but it's quite hard to get hold of that foam block, and I haven't got any at the moment. Or EPS, which is extruded foam, is better, but that's a harder foam, not as flexible, which is better. But for a lightweight build, which is this one, it will be fine. Okay, now you see the edges here, I've allowed for that. I'm not worried about that because, let me just put that on there. As you can see, I'll be putting some ailerons on there. I'll be cutting that back, obviously cutting back for the motor, and we'll be putting some Depron in there for Depron ailerons and Depron on the wingtips. Okay, so this will be an extremely lightweight one. It should be a lot lighter than the other one. Okay, so now that I've glued some 5mm Depron to the trailing edge of the foam wing to use as ailerons. Okay, I've marked out what I'll be doing. I've also sanded the trailing edge a little bit thinner, which gives it a little bit of reflex, you'll see there. Okay, polystyrene, white polystyrene, is very delicate, very flimsy if just left on its own like that. May be okay for indoor flying, but to give a little bit of extra strength, I'm going to be covering it in brown paper. This is a method I've used many times before. It's fairly light and gives the structure a strong yet ding-proof protection. Okay, so I've now cut one of the ailerons free from one of the wings, and I have sliced it to chamfer so that it will hinge. Okay, but before I fit the hinge and before I fit the fence, which I've got some EPP sheet, here it is. I haven't got any EPP block left, otherwise I would have just cut it out of that. It would have saved me doing the paperwork. As you can see, it's a lot different kind of foam, but I have got some of the sheet left, and I will use that for the fins because it's a bit more flexible should I get damage. But you could, no reason why you couldn't use Depron cardboard or something else like that. So before I fit the ailerons, yeah, I need a control horn, and as this is recycled foam, this is a plastic bottle. I've just cut the back out of it to get myself a piece of flat plastic. Out of that flat plastic I've made, hopefully you can hear it, I'll cut 2 control horns like that. So all I need to do is bend that like that, slice into there, slide that in, so this will be under there, I'll show that later, and that will be my control horn. Again, all recycled. So I will continue cutting the aileron free out of that one, and I'll fit the aileron and fit that. Just incidentally, while we're at it, I don't know if I've shown you before, this is obviously covered in brown paper. This is a Gillows kit. This is very old now, but just showing you how well brown paper copes. As you can see, there's no sagging on that. That's almost like new, and you can paint it, put stickers on it, transfers. This is a Gillows converted rubber powered model to RC, and it flies. So brown paper, don't think it's heavy, it should be used, you can use it. So right, anyway, let me crack on. I'll get these fitted and see you later. Okay, so I've cut one aileron free from one wing. I've used some plastic from one of these to make a control horn, which is like that. Well, I've made two identically the same, and basically I will be gluing it in and it'll fit like that. So once it'll glue in between the two, one flap will glue on there on the top, one flap will glue on the bottom, and that will be secure, and that will be good enough to control it. So that's one. Okay, I now need to cut this one, put that on there. I've already marked where I need to cut this. Sharp knife. That's free. There we go. So now I've got to cut a chamfer on that, because that won't move at the moment. So that's slightly beveled, let you see, that way, not too much. And I need to get some sandpaper, sand that clay, and do the same on there. No, which was the way? It was there. So that's the underside, so that's the bit I need to do chamfer on. So all I'm going to do is another cut, about 5mm beyond there, and what I'm going to actually do here is cut the paper. Like that. It stuck quite well, that. There we go. Right, so now doing it that way, and now I'm going to cut at an angle like that, and I've got this paper bit as a guide. Okay, so I'll do that next, then I'll mark where I need to, there it is, I need to fit my other control horn, which is there. Right. Then when I've done that, what I'll do, I'll glue the horns in and mark a pinhole through there, drill a little hole there for the control wire to go through. Glue that in, and then I'll put some clear packing tape over that, not clear that, same on that. I'll put some clear packing tape over that bit, and then what I'll do, wrong wing, then what I'll do, I'll put some clear packing tape on the top, hold it together, then I'll fold it that way, so it's like that, and then I'll put some more clear packing tape on the inside to go in that gap, and that'll give me my hinge. And then all I need to do then is glue onto the ends, the fins, glue the two parts together. Okay, so this wing, I've glued my wingtip on, and I've fitted my aileron with some clear packing tape and the control horn. So this one I've got to do, so I'll put the control horn on there, and I put some clear packing tape over like that so it seals the edge, and again on there, and I now need to tape it to that. Okay, so I'm going to do that now. I quite like clear packing tape, it's quite strong and durable. So I just hold it up like that. be easier for me to do it this way. There we go. There we go. So I'll just put it on the top bit. Cut the excess off. Okay, so now I've got that like that. I need to line this up, leaving a slight gap. Okay. So I'll fold it back again. Level it up, so I know I need to put a cut somewhere there. 90 degrees. That's to make room for the there we go. So that's the top part of the hinge done. And I don't know if you can see there's a slight gap now, which is what I want, and that allows it to move. Okay. Let's fold the rest of that over there. Now I need to put some more on that side. Cut that off. Now I forgot to go and get my ruler, so I'll go and get my ruler. Right, so now that is on that section. I need to fold it into the gap like that. Now there you go. Now I've got a working hinge. So now that that bit's done, all I need to do now is glue the fin on, and I can glue the two halves of the wings together. So I need to glue that onto there, glue that on there, fit the radio gear, we're done. So now it's time to glue the fin on. I use this stuff. It's a contact type glue, so all you need to do small amount. And on there. Give them a bit of a dry and then put the two parts together. There you go. Now same again on here. Okay. Top back on this, let those dry. Stick the two together. And I've got some on the bottom of that. There we go, one flying wing. So now what I'm going to do, get some more brown paper over this edge here, and that'll seal it up, that'll act as a bond. And then I need to put my motor mount on there, fit my radio gear, and that'll be it. Job done. Nice little foam flying wing. Right, so I'm going to put that brown paper on and I'll get back to you after that, and then we can do the rest of it. Okay, so now I've cut a bit of spare foam to use as a motor mount. Just be there. Now you need to do a slight overhang because we need to sand a bit of an angle on that, and we need to get some plywood, put that on to mount the mounter on. So let me just glue this in place. Now all you who need to do is glue it in place. Make sure you put it the right way around. Centre it up the best you can. Get it straight. Slight overhang. Okay. Right, so I'm now going to sand that. A sanding block. And glue that in place because I need, well, I'm holding it at the right angle. It needs to be a couple of degrees, about 3 degrees back. So I'll go and sand that now, and I'll get back. In the meantime, you need to get some of this clear plastic because we're going to make a battery holder. It will go here somewhere and it will hold the battery in place. Alright, let me carry on with that. So, making the battery mount, that's some clear plastic like this, cut it to the width. This ruler just so happens to be a little bit wider than the battery. It's a 300 milliamp 2S Lipo. So all we need to do a hard 90-degree fold like that. Do another one, use the ruler as a guide for where I want it to be. That's another one there. Okay, now I need the thickness of the battery. So let's just put the battery in. It's about there. So I need another one. Something like that. It's another hard 90-degree fold. Just check that for size. That'll be fine. I need to cut it back there. Yep, so now I need to do the other one. Cut that about there. Make a nick in that so I can see where it is. So now the battery will fit in there quite easily. I now need to cut a space into there to accept that and glue that in. And then once that's tight in there, that won't flex, and all I need to do is hold that, put that in, and I can put a bit of tape over there. Obviously I want to have it that way to keep it more aerodynamic. So I'll now just get my Stanley knife and cut that out. Let's go and get my pencil and mark it, shall I? There we go. So about there. Not very good, this pencil. I'm not got it squared either. Right, let's cut that. Now this battery mount, when it's glued in, will also add strength. So I'm now going to pull all this out. This is quite messy, so I'll do this off camera. I'll clean that up and then I'll glue that in place. I'll show you where we go from there. We need to get the servos mounted, receiver, motor, we're almost there. Okay guys, we're nearly there, we're nearly finished. The plane's finished, we're just fitting the radio gear. So I've now got the motor fitted, and that's bolted onto the plywood. I've got one servo fitted and the arm and the linkages. The linkages, I've used these little clips, find them easy to adjust. What I tend to do, to get the height right, I'll use a control horn and use that next to it and drill a hole through. I'll do that on both, so that way I know my mounting hole is exactly the same on them both. Okay, I've fitted this so that I can alter the adjustment when I need to do, and I put a Z bend in one of my wires. Before you fit these servos, make sure you use one of these little gizmos and make sure it's centered up before you fit it, because obviously getting to the screw later is going to be a bit difficult. I'm just going to show you this if you haven't seen one of these before. They're only cheap. I suggest you get one. Okay, you have 3 modes: manual, which allows you to test it, center, which brings it to the center, and swipe. And what that will do is test it, and I would recommend that every set, because they're only cheap, these servos, every set of servos you do that for at least good 10-20 minutes on both of them, and then set it to neutral, put your arm at neutral, run it again, and each time you stop it, go to neutral and make sure it does return back to the neutral point, which it should do. And then final one, I'll move it to the extreme, because on the swipe it doesn't go to extreme. By doing it with the knob you'll go to extreme. Do it several times. If there's an issue with it, you'll hear it. Go back to neutral and it should return to neutral. Okay, so I've set both of these up to neutral. Okay, and make sure that when you fit them, make sure they are the reverse of each other. Okay, and you want the servo weight towards the middle. Okay, so that is the reverse of that. Okay, now what I do is I get a ruler and I measure from this line here 90 degrees. Okay, that is how I want to level up the servo. I don't want the servo that way or that way, because it's going to push that to the side one way or the other as it goes up and down. So make sure it's pushing on that at 90 degrees the correct way. Okay, now on this one I'm looking at the thickest part of the cord to fit these servos, and I think it's approximately, there you go, 90 mils to the centre hub. That's, I'm calling the centre hub that there. So from the hinge line, 90 mils. Okay, make sure that your rod, now this piece of metal wire is at about 0.8 mil thick. You will have to drill or make the hole through that yourself. Again, make sure they're opposite, which it is. Okay, make sure that when it fits in there, there's a bend on that, I think. Yeah, right. So I'm going to have to adjust that bend. Can you see how it's not going at 90 degrees. So I'll need to adjust that so that it is at 90 degrees. And when I'm happy with that, that should fit in there at 90 degrees, and that sits there. So I need to cut that all out, and all I do, cut through the skin. If you use your fingers and gauge the depth, yeah, so there's my depth. I know not to go any deeper than that. Okay, and all we're looking at doing is cutting, and then follow the line. There's a hole, that's for the wire to come out. For servo lugs to go in. You can cut servo lugs off if you wanted to, but so now, to make it easier to remove the foam, if you just cut it into cubes, and because you've kept your depth, your finger gets depth, it should only break away at that depth. So there you go. As you can see now, this is lots and lots of little cubes like that. Okay, and all it's a case of doing is just nudging them out, and they should all be at approximately the right depth you want. So and if you've done it right, I've drawn around the servo, do it nice and tight, it should just slot in nice and tight. Okay, and I'll just tease the rest of that out. There we go. I'll take the servo arm off for the time being. That servo rod, I'm going to have to make that at 90 degrees. I didn't do my Z-bend quite right, but now I'm just going to check. There you go. Oh, I didn't pull that out. Right, by leaving the servo arm on, I can pull it back out if I need to. Not quite deep enough, so just tease a bit more out. Don't want to go too deep with it. Just deep enough that you need it to be. There you go, so that's in, and that's tight in there, so you can glue it in if you want to, or you can do as what I've just done, put some tape over the top and that'll stop it coming out. It is secure in there, it ain't going to move. So I'm going to get some tape now and tape that over there, and I'm going to lie the wire flat against the wing like that out the way. So I'll get some tape. that's all we need. I'm going to cut my fold over there. There we go. That's all you will need to keep that secure in there. That ain't going to go anywhere. Right, so now I need to fit this control arm, but I need to sort that bend out first, because otherwise it's going to be skewing it. Doesn't look too bad actually. Let me just try that. I need to measure the length as well. Oh, that's not too bad, is it? Right, the reason why I like these is that I can adjust the amount of up or down I need, and then when I'm happy with where it is, just screw it in tight and we're fixed. Okay, so the next thing for us to worry about, oh, well, it would have helped, let me not do that. Put this back on and we'll centre it up, and then I'll fix the horns. Back in there, power up this, set that to neutral. There we go, so there's my neutral pipe, and that I want to screw tight there. Okay, so that, there's the Elevons working. So I'll just clear the table off, and then we need to mount the receiver and the speed controller. Let's set that to neutral. There we go. Power off. Right, so I'll get back to when I've cleaned the table off and ready for that. Well guys, there it is, all done. It may not be the prettiest one in the bunch, but for a cheap knockabout, it's all in. So, good job I didn't glue the servos in and just did that, because one of the servos, this one here, was just wandering all over the place. One thing I've noticed that's different from the others is I can turn that quite easy. Although it works, it was constantly searching, chattering, it wasn't doing that. These are doing it a little bit, but nowhere near as bad as it was before. So all I needed to do is just double-sided sticky foam, just fit them down, some tape to hold the wires in place. I can probably put a bit more tape to put that there. So that's it, it's ready for its first flight. Now you only need a basic radio system for it, but it does need to have elevon mixing on it. Now elevon mixing is when, pull up, both servos move the elevators up, but then move to the right, one goes up and one goes down. Okay, so stick to the right, and the right aileron is going up, so that forces it that way. Okay, and go to the left one goes up, forcing it that way. Up, obviously both up, both down. And obviously it does the combination of the two. And obviously make sure your motor's going in the correct direction. You only need to swap two of those if it's going in the wrong direction. And that's it. So next time you see this, it should be flying around in the air. This is a radio system that I've converted to FlySky. I've put the module inside it. But there was where the crystal used to be. It used to have an aerial. It used to be FM, as you see. I've converted it to FlySky at 2.4 gigahertz. Right. Oh, the other thing I've done, I've put some reinforcing packing tape along the centre to help it skid. and the centre of balance, you're looking somewhere around 11.5 centimetres. So I put my fingers on those points there. There you go. So see if that flies. Hopefully we'll get that in the air tomorrow.